Hey guys, welcome to The Pursuit of Wellness. My name is Kabir Uppal, and each week I talk to wellness experts and enthusiasts to extract key information that we can use to get holistically healthy. On this episode, my guest is Sonakshi Dhamija. She has an inspiring story of becoming a yoga teacher and continues to learn more on her journey every day. We spoke about the skills required to become a yoga teacher and how her personal journey has prepared her to teach yoga. The Pursuit of Wellness is a Mancha Media production. You can find out more on manchamedia.com. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube or any other podcast app you use. You can also follow us on all social media at Mancha Podcast or me at Kabir Uppal. Before we jump in with Sonakshi, I want to mention our sponsor for this episode. TEGO is premium activewear for the modern everyday athlete. They create products that are engineered to help you win your sweaty battles. And I have to say, TEGO really knows what they're doing. Right now, I'm wearing their vaporized t-shirt. It's made from performance cotton that dries twice as fast as regular cotton. And it really works, guys. So whether it's a grueling workout or a long-ass flight, check out TEGO. You can find out more at tego.fit/tpow. That's tego.fit/tpow. Thanks for listening, guys. Let's jump right in. Hey Sonakshi, welcome to the show.
Hey Kabir, thank you.
We've already given our audience a little bit of a introduction about you and what we're going to, kind of be going through here. But why don't you give our audience a quick intro about you in your own words?
So I teach Ashtanga Yoga in Delhi, and I've been teaching since around 3 years now, and I've been practicing since 5. I think 5. I'll complete 5 by the end of this year. So I mean, I'm not keeping count. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fun. It's a different thing to do. I enjoy it a lot.
That's great.
And
where did it all begin for you? What was that moment 5 years ago when you kind of decided that then, in general, when have you been into like wellness or fitness?
Yeah, so I've never been into wellness and fitness before this. I've never moved. I was a nerd. I would just sit and read and just study, and I was very academic. I was doing my post-graduation and I wanted to do an MPhil, a PhD, blah, 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 all of those plans. So, I started the stress was obviously cropping up because of all these plans I had. And I started doing some yoga. I did it for around a year at a local center near my house. And then I was in Goa for like just a family vacation. And I attended a yoga class and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. It feels so good.
Did you feel enlightened?
Yeah, totally. I was awesome. Enlightened. So I got back and I mean, there were moments when I kept thinking of that class. So I thought maybe I should do something about it. I was in my last semester of post-graduation and I took just like that. I just packed my bags and I went to Mysore for 2 weeks. And I got really bored there. I was like, there's nothing to do. What is this? Blah, blah, blah. And by the end of 2 weeks, I didn't want to leave. Yeah. The first week was terrible. And then I started getting into the flow of things and it started becoming fun. So when I got back, I kept the practice and I still had my dissertation to write. So those 6 months, the practice immensely helped me, my mind to keep me focused, everything. So after that, I just decided to take a gap year. And that was a big deal because we don't usually do that in India. So I just traveled and I learned and I figured out what style of yoga I want to do. Yeah. And I tried a few different classes, a few different methods, forms. And then I decided to stick to Ashtanga, which has been great for me.
So that's what we kind of want to move into in our second and main segment here. It's why don't you obviously you said that you tried out some different types of styles of yoga. Is that the correct way to kind of describe it? Styles, different styles.
Different styles. Of yoga.
And what made you pick Ashtanga, and why don't you describe Ashtanga for some of our listeners that may not really know what Ashtanga Yoga is?
So Ashtanga can be different to different people. It's a flow of it's a vinyasa flow. You do one series every day. It's called primary series until you graduate to the secondary series. The best thing I like about Ashtanga is that it's called the Mysore style because it was developed in Mysore.
Okay.
And there's no teacher sitting on your head and telling you what to do. So it's your own practice. It's a very personal practice. So it becomes very deep with time. And you can just decide what you can wake up and see how you're feeling and take it on that particular day according to that day. You can be really fast, you can be like really flowy, and you can be really strong, or you can just decide to focus on breath that day. You'll be doing the same things, but the focus will be completely different.
Okay.
So it just gives you, the result will be different on that day.
So is the idea to just complete that primary series? So as you said, you might be feeling more energetic. You might focus on breathing. You might do it in a more,
the idea is you don't want to do the whole primary series in one go. At least if you're a beginner, because you might want to take a 2-hour nap after that. So, it's especially recommended to do it with a teacher, because the teacher will guide you onto how to progress into it, how to start, what to do, how to build strength, how to build stamina, how to breathe in a certain way that won't tire you out by the end of it. So the whole idea is not to complete anything. The whole idea is to just feel really energetic post the class. You need to feel refreshed and really amazing, kind of like that glow kind of thing. You need to feel from inside to start the day.
Yeah.
You shouldn't feel tired, ideally. Okay. You might be feeling tired because it depends on how healthy, active, what your lifestyle is, depending on all of that.
Okay. And why did, you pick Ashtanga over all the other styles that you kind of explored?
I just connected with it. It's just a personal thing. Yeah. I felt like I don't really do group classes, and this is the only style that allows you to do your own thing in a group class.
Okay.
So you enter a Mysore room and you see 10 people. They're practicing different stuff. They're practicing their own practice. So it's your personal practice in a group. So that's the best thing I like about it.
Interesting. And how did you kind of go about, once you had kind of taken a call on, okay, Ashtanga Yoga is the one for me, this is what I want to do. How did you kind of go about doing the research, or, were there any people that you spoke to that, kind of pointed you in the direction of, picking wherever the classes that you were taking and the professional that you were working with, and then that direction, or was that something that just came naturally?
It was quite random.
Yeah.
And as I said earlier, I just went to Mysore. The first time I got really bored there, but then when I got back, I realized.
You pushed through it. Yeah.
So I tried to find a teacher in Delhi who teaches a similar style, and I found one. And I practiced with him for around another year and a half before going to Mysore again. So that's how I got into Ashtanga, basically.
So before we jump a little bit more into, what it is, what your experience has been, in terms of, practicing here in Delhi, practicing in other places, private versus studio, all of that, tell me a little bit about what you think. Now you've gone through the process of, getting into wellness, then finding one particular style that you want to work with, practicing yourself, then under teachers. What is something that could prepare some of our listeners that might have been thinking about it, right? What are some qualities or personality or, just in general things that people need to have within them to kind of go through this?
To kind of become professionals, you mean? Yeah. Practicing anything, yoga, any sport, anything wellness related for yourself, and teaching it to other people are two completely different things. You would think that you enjoy practicing and then you would enjoy teaching somebody else, but that's not always true. I've seen a lot of people who've been practicing 10 years, 20 years, but they don't want to teach because they don't have that. They don't want to do it.
Yeah.
That's it. It's not necessary that if you're doing it, you have to teach or something like that. And, so before I got into teaching, completely, I, gave like a mini, test to myself. I was traveling during that gap year, and I was in Delhi for around 2 months. So I taught at a studio, and I saw like, do I even like dealing with people for real, like one-on-one? Do I even want to tell them, like, do I care enough? So I figured all of that out. I really enjoyed it. And that's how I decided to dive into it full time.
Nice. So, in general, in terms of people that might want to, explore it in terms of what qualifies them potentially to become a teacher versus somebody that is practicing themselves. Obviously, one, they have to practice it themselves and like it enough to go through it on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis, right? But also kind of be able to come to terms with certain things that are essential to being a yoga teacher, right? You have to consistently keep up with the learning yourself. You have to have the ability to, I'm sure, patience, or, being able to, yeah. I think our listeners / watchers on YouTube will see the reaction to that one. Yeah. So lots of patience, guys. And yeah, cool. So, beyond that, the patience bit, I wanted to also chat, what are some soft skills also that you might think are essential, especially, you've, while working at probably studios, and you probably met with other teachers as well, some of the successful ones, or people that really are able to impart great knowledge. What are some things that you see that a good yoga teacher really has?
See, this is a very cliche thing, but you gotta be true to yourself. You can't pretend to be nice.
Yeah.
You can't pretend to be, okay, I care for you when you genuinely don't. If somebody is, I lose my patience sometimes. If I'm telling a person to do this 10 times, like the 11th time, I'm going to be a little pissed off about it, which is fine. And it's human.
Yeah.
And
everybody is human. So that should be expected.
Yeah. And the other person understands that completely. So you've got to be just true and honest in this, because you're actually dealing with people. And a lot of times people who come to yoga can be quite vulnerable. They can be quite open. They can discuss things with you that you would think are surprising, that you were not expecting.
Yeah.
So you've got to be like, you don't have to get into that zone of being the therapist or anything. Right?
There's a line that you have to draw at some point.
Exactly. Yeah. So soft skills would include good communication skills, also including where to draw the line.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's a part of good communication,
Absolutely.
right? But learning where to say no, where to say, this is not where my responsibilities lie.
That's not my job.
Yeah.
You've got to say that sometimes. So yeah, I think that's one of the most important things to do.
Great. And can you tell us a little bit about, your journey of, and your experience in general of working in Delhi with studios, working with, personal clients? I know when we were talking on the phone, before the recording, you had mentioned that you kind of now lean towards doing private classes. That's somewhere where you feel like you're able to have maximum impact and you feel happiest doing that, right?
Yeah.
So what all did you have to go through to kind of find this peaceful situation where you said, yes, now I'm in an environment where I can add value and I'm happy with it as well?
Mm-hmm. So I just, I didn't know where to start, obviously, because you're new and you have no idea how this works and you're not a professional. So you just approach different avenues and you just get into whatever is offered and you just take chances, and some things are good, some things are not so good. And that's part of the experience, and that's actually part of what makes you. And it's also very important to go through that, because then you learn how to say no.
Yeah.
And what to say no to. Because at the end of the day, even if, you're working at a studio and you're not contract bound like you would in any other job.
Yeah.
But you've got to keep your grounds, and you've got to keep your, rules, and you've got to tell them like, blah, 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 this is my thing, this is how I work, this is what's going to happen. Don't expect more, don't expect less. And yeah, you've got to clear the air and everything like that.
Cool.
So private classes have been a lot of fun. I love dealing with people one-on-one. That's just who I am. And yeah, it's just, I feel like I can give them so much more on a private basis, on an individual level, than I would in a group.
So yeah, before we kind of move into our third and final segment, I think it'll be great to get an understanding from you of, how your personal wellness journey. I mean, you and I met because you came to one of our boot camps at FitNut when we were doing it at Lodi Garden. So how did, that transition from first starting to work out? And you had also mentioned that you really liked going to the gym a lot also at one point, right? So how have different aspects of your personal wellness journey kind of brought you to here? And where do you see, obviously I'm not expecting you to kind of be able to look into the future of yourself, but where do you kind of want to see yourself? And we'll obviously talk about this new journey you're about to take with your education as well.
Sure. So yoga is absolutely my jam. That's the main thing. I do keep like you mentioned that I visited your functional fitness thingy. And I do keep doing that stuff on the side sometimes if I'm feeling like a surge of energy and I feel like I want to go for a run. So I go for a run. It's not a big deal. I just do whatever my mind is telling me, whatever my body is telling me. what yoga has done especially is that it has made me extremely aware of what my body needs. And sometimes, there are days when I want to just lay in bed.
Yeah.
And then I do that.
Yeah.
It's okay.
You don't need to beat yourself up about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there are days I do 2 workouts in a day. So that's the plus and that's the downside. So it just works in tandem, I guess. And, the other thing was that, how do I, do other fitness things that I do?
Yeah.
I do aerial silks. That's something I really enjoy. And that's something I do, once a week mostly, or sometimes once in 2 weeks. So that's like my fun zone. I'm just chilling there. There's no goals.
Yeah.
There's no pressure. There's nothing like I have to do this in this class. I have to get it. No, nothing like that. I'm just hanging. I'm just chilling. It's a good community. It's an amazing vibe.
Nice.
So that I do acro. I sometimes go to a gym, which I don't enjoy very much.
Not anymore, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, those days have gone.
Yeah. Cool. Also getting into, what the next step in your journey is right now. A couple of days you're going to be going to a new facility to kind of explore educating yourself more in the space of yoga. Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about that as well?
I'm going to Pune in a few days, this weekend in fact, to enroll myself into a yoga therapy course. And therapy is something that has piqued my interest and curiosity since a long time, but I've just been it wasn't time, and now it's time. I would just put it like that. And it's something very interesting, and I just feel like, as much as I love inverting and I love doing crazy things with my body, and it's just so amazing to put your body into weird stuff and whatever. But I do feel like there's more to yoga than just a handstand or just a split or something like that.
The value that can be derived is much more.
Absolutely, yeah. And I also feel like there's a lot of senior people who would love to do yoga, and they do not have enough teachers who cater to that kind of
audience.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So therapy will enable me to deal with bodies in a more careful manner. I really hope I would be able to avoid injuries altogether completely, even in difficult things. And this therapy course should enable me by the end of, it's a proper post-graduation. So it will enable me to kind of deal with shoulder injuries, knee injuries, joint pains, things like that, diabetes, slip discs. So,
just moving into our third and final segment here, who are some people that you would like to potentially have in the seat that we're sitting in, right? Somebody that you would like to hear on the pursuit of wellness, whether it's their journey or their knowledge about a very specific topic that, they're knowledgeable about.
Mm-hmm. So, I would, I think we could do more we could talk to people who are more into holistic alternative medicine, who are into therapy. Like I said, I'm really curious about therapy at the moment. So I would love to listen to people who are dealing with bodies on a very careful manner, or whatever. So we could do that. There's a doctor in Delhi called Dr. Deepak Sachdev, and he's amazing. I've met him. I've discussed things with him. You could totally take him on.
Okay, awesome, great. What are some sources of information that you have loved in the last 6 months, or that you kind of go to give you, whether it's inspiration, motivation, or deeper knowledge in the things that you're interested in?
So there's this podcast that I listen to a lot on.
Is it called The Pursuit of Wellness?
Yeah, it's gonna be that now.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, go ahead.
So there's this podcast that I listen to. It's called Yoga Land by Andrea Ferretti, and it's quite interesting. So I drive around quite a lot to get to classes, obviously. So I have to listen to something interesting. So I listen to that. It's quite amazing. I really love listening to that. I'm sure anybody who listens to it and interested in yoga will enjoy it. The other thing is, there's a book called Light on Yoga by B.K. Sayangar, and everybody knows about it. It's a very beginner book, but it's like that source that you keep going back to all the time. It's like that guide kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So it's like this encyclopedia of yoga.
Nice.
A mini one. So that, and And yeah, so recently I watched this. It was just a YouTube recommendation. It's a video called Bookstores, and it's by Max Joseph. His channel is amazing. I discovered him a week back, and I'm like obsessed with him, I think. So it's called Bookstores, and he goes around Europe, South America, US, and discovers really cool bookstores and talks to people there about how can you read more books in a year? Because I am definitely not reading enough. And since I was a literature student, I feel very, very guilty about not reading enough. So that has motivated me a lot. I'm going to keep rewatching it.
Nice. Yeah. Well, for all of our listeners, all of those links and information about those sources that Sonakshi likes very much are going to be in our show notes, so you can click there and get to those. Sonakshi, any closing thoughts for all our listeners that are thinking about taking Ashtanga Yoga or thinking about becoming teachers, or just generally, hopefully, thinking about moving and doing something? Get off your bums, guys.
Totally. Yeah. Go try a class. Go try any yoga class. It doesn't have to be Ashtanga. It doesn't have to be any particular yoga class. Go out and see what you like. Just move. Let your body respond. Take some time for your body. Let your body tell you it, because it will tell you. Listen to it and figure out a way. Personally, Ashtanga is amazing. I just can't recommend it enough. It has sorted my whole life. I'm just a happier person now. Yeah, like the typical happy yoga person.
Alright guys, thanks so much for watching or listening. We hope you gained something that helps you on your wellness journey. We have some great episodes this season which will help you deep dive into various fitness and nutrition methods, like the one with my friend Shubhajit about becoming a fitness trainer, or with Coach Rajneesh, who talks about how to get holistically fitter through boxing. Definitely remember to look out for those. If you liked anything from this episode, please show us some love and subscribe or follow us. We'd love for you to be a part of this process. Write to us on our social media @Mancha Podcast or comment on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Until next time.